All right, good evening. This is Lesson 5 Variables and If Statements in the Physical Computing Unit walkthrough and assessment. In this lesson, we were introduced to a bunch of exciting and important things. The first was using variables and declaring variables, assigning a value to a variable. We were also introduced to updating variables as well as the if statement. And with going along with the if statement, comparison operators like greater than or less than or greater than and equal to, less than and equal to, not equal to, things like this. Just read through the instructions and then walk through the assessment. Hawa is making a positivity app where people can track good deeds or positive statements they make throughout the day by pressing a button on the circuit playground. Each time they press a button, the heart grows a little bit in size. When the heart fills the box, the circuit playground should buzz. Hawa has already started the app, but needs to help adding the variables and if statements to her code. And we are supposed to do this. Add a variable called size as the first line of your code and set it to 30. Add code inside your event that increases the size variable by 20 each time a button is pressed. Add an if statement that checks when the heart has reached a size of at least 300 pixels. Inside the if statement, have the buzzer make a noise to let the user know they've reached their goal. And if we do all four of those things, we should hit the extensive evidence part of our rubric. So before we get started, the first two things here deal with variables. So the first bullet here is the variable declaration and the variable assignment, setting it equal to 30. The second bullet deals with updating our variable by increasing it by 20 each time the button is pressed. The third bullet is the if statement that uses one of these conditionals. It checks to see how big our variable is and whether or not it's greater than or equal to 300 pixels. And then we also use a buzzer, make our buzzer make a noise when we have a true result in our if statement. So let's do the first part. That would be to declare our variable and set it to 30. So we're going to use the var command, and we're going to call our variable size like it says, and we're going to set that equal to 30. Again, this is doing two things. It's telling the computer that, hey, we're going to use this variable that we're calling size, and we're going to store the value of 30 in that variable. Okay, that's the first part. And then add code inside your event that increases the size variable by 20 each time the button's pressed. That is updating the variable, and we're going to do that in here on our onboard event. When the left button is pressed down, we want to use this block here, and we're going to say that our size variable is equal to what it was before, which is 30, plus an additional 20 each time this line of code is executed. So this is a little bit of a weird statement probably if you've never worked with variables before in computing, because we're used to seeing this equal sign in math. And this statement in a math sense would make no sense, because how could size be equal to size plus 20? Size should be equal to size. But we have to remember that the equal sign here does not mean equality. It means we're assessing the right side of this, finding what it's the value of that, and then storing it back into the size variable. Right? So as the computer reads these lines of code, the first thing it says is, I'm going to create a variable and put 30 in that box. Then this line says, now I'm going to take the value of that, which I'm going to put that in for size here, which is 30. Then I'm going to add 20 to it and make it 50. and then I'm going to store 50 in this box. Then if when it comes back through the function, it loops back through again, now we have size equal to 50. So it's going to take 50 and add 20 to that, which equals 70, and we're going to put 70 in the box. So this is, in this way, we update the variable. Each time that line of code is read, it adds 20 to the existing value of size. This relates to the video that you watched where the dude was talking about how if we're playing a video game and we have our score and we're picking up coins, we want to increment it, increase it by 1 each time. This is the kind of statement that we would use. Next thing is the if statement. We need to put an if statement to check then how big our size variable is and whether or not it's greater than or equal to 300. So we're going to grab, this is a control statement, we're going to grab an if, we're going to drop it in here. We want to know if size is greater than or equal to 300. I grabbed the wrong block. If size is greater than or equal to 300, then we're going to buzz circuit, buzzer frequency, and we'll just leave that as it is. All right, let's try this and see if it works. Left button down increases the heart size by 20 pixels each time. And there we hit 300. All right. And that is all for this lengthy lesson. A bunch of really good stuff here. We're going to be using the variables all through and the if control all through the rest of the course. So important stuff. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Good night.